Hello, and welcome back to Bedtime Stories with Vice Vice Baby, where we will continue word number 6. Chapter 16. One day, Mihail came after dinner when Andrei Yefimych was lying on his sofa. It so happened that Hobotov arrived at the same time with his bromide. Andrei Yefimych got up heavily and sat down, leaning both arms on the sofa. "You have a much better color today than you had yesterday, my dear man," began Mihail. "Yes, you look jolly. Upon my soul, you do." "It's high time you were well, my dear colleague," said Hobotov, yawning. "I'll be bound you are sick of this bobbery." "And we shall recover," said Mihail cheerfully. "We shall live another 100 years, to be sure." "Not 100 years, but another 20, Hobotov said reassuringly. "It's all right, colleague. Don't lose heart. Don't go piling it on." "We'll show what we can do," laughed Mihail, and he slapped his friend on the knee. "We'll show them yet. Next summer, please God, we shall be off to Caucasus. And we will ride all over it on horseback. Trot, trot, trot. And when we are back from Caucasus, I shouldn't wonder if we will all dance at the wedding." Mihail gave a sly wink. "We'll marry you, my dear boy. We'll marry you." Andrei Yefimych felt suddenly that the rising disgust had mounted on his throat. His heart began beating violently. "That's vulgar," he said, getting up quickly and walking away to the window. "Don't you understand that you're talking vulgar nonsense?" He meant to go on softly and politely, but against his will, he suddenly clenched his fists and raised them above his head. "Leave me alone," he shouted in a voice unlike his own, blushing crimson and shaking all over. "Go away, both of you." Mihail and Hobotov got up and stared at him first with amazement, and then with alarm. "Go away, both," Andrei Yefimych went on shouting. "Stupid people, foolish people, I don't want either your friendship or your medicines, stupid man, vulgar, nasty." Hobotov and Mihail, looking at each other in bewilderment, staggered to the door and went out. Andrei Yefimych snatched up the bottle of bromide and flung it after them. The bottle broke with a crash on the doorframe. "Go to the devil," he shouted in a tearful voice, running out into the passage. "To the devil!" When his guests were gone, Andrei Yefimych lay on the sofa, trembling as though in fever, and went on for a long while repeating, "Stupid people, foolish people." When he was calmer, what occurred to him first of all was the thought that poor Mihail must be feeling fearfully ashamed and depressed now, and that it was all dreadful. Nothing like this had ever happened to him before. What was his intelligence and his tact? Where was his comprehension of things and his philosophical indifference? The doctor could not sleep all night for shame and vexation with himself, and at 10 o'clock morning he went to the post office and apologized to the postmaster. "We won't think again of what has happened," Mihail, greatly touched, said with a sigh, warmly pressing his hand. "Let bygones be bygones." He suddenly shouted so loud that all the postmen and other persons present stared. "Hand a chair, and you wait," he shouted to a peasant woman who was stretching out a registered letter to him through the grating. "Don't you see that I'm busy? We will not remember the past." He went on, affectionately addressing Andrei Yefimych. "Sit down, I beg you, my dear fellow." For a moment, he stroked his knees in silence, and then said, "I never had a thought of taking offense. Illness is no joke, I understand. Your attack frightened the doctor and me yesterday, and we had a long talk about you afterwards. My dear friend, why won't you treat your illness seriously? You can't go on like this. Excuse me speaking openly as a friend, whispered Michal. You live in the most unfavorable surroundings, in a crowd, in uncleanliness, no one to look after you, no money for proper treatment. My dear friend, the doctor and I implore you, with all our hearts, listen to our advice. Go to the hospital. There you will have wholesome food and attendance and treatment. Though, between us, Yevgeny Fyodorovich is mauvais ton, yet he does understand his work. You can fully rely upon him. He has promised me he will look after you. Andrei Yefimych was touched by the postmaster's genuine sympathy and the tears which suddenly glittered on his cheek. My honored friend, don't believe it, he whispered, laying his hand on his heart. Don't believe them. It's all a sham. My illness is only that in 20 years I have only found one intelligent man in the whole town, and he is mad. I'm not ill at all. It's simply that I have gotten into an enchantment circle which there is no getting out of. I don't care. I am ready for anything. Go into the hospital, my dear fellow. Won't care if it were into the pit. Give me your word, my dear man, that you will obey Yevgeny Fyodorovich in everything. Certainly, I will give you my word, but I repeat, my honored friend, I have got into an enchantment circle. Now, everything, even the genuine sympathy of my friends, leads to this same thing, to my ruin. I'm going to my ruin, and I have the manliness to recognize it. My dear fellow, you will recover. What's the use of saying that? Said Andrei Yefimych with an irritation. There are few men who at the end of their lives do not experience what I am experiencing now. When you're told that you have something such as diseased kidneys or enlarged heart and you begin being treated for it, or told you are mad or a criminal, that is in fact when people suddenly turn their attention to you. You may be sure you have gone into an enchanted circle from which you will not escape. You will try to escape and make things worse. You had better give in, for no human efforts can save you. So it seems to me. Meanwhile, the public was crowding at the grating. That he might not be in their way, Andrei Yefimych got up and began to take the leave. Michal made him promise on his honor once more and escorted him to the outer door. Towards evening, on the same day, Hobotov in his sheepskin and his high-top boots suddenly made his appearance and said to Andrei Yefimych in a tone as though nothing had happened the day before. I've come on business, colleague. I've come to ask you whether you would not join me in a consultation, eh? Thinking that Hobotov wanted to distract his mind with an outing, or perhaps really to enable him to earn something, Andrei Yefimych put on his coat and hat and went out with him into the street. He was glad of the opportunity so smooth over his fault for the previous day and to be reconciled, and in his heart thanked Hobotov, who did not even allude to yesterday's scene and was evidently sparing him. One would never have expected such delicacy from this uncultured man. Where is your invalid? Asked Andrei Yefimych. In the hospital. I have long wanted to show him to you. A very interesting case. They went into the hospital yard, and going round the main building, turned towards the lodge where the mental cases were kept, and all this for some reason in silence. When they went into the lodge, Nikita as usual jumped up and stood at attention. One of the patients here has a lung complication, Hobotov said in an undertone, going into the yard with Andrei Yefimych. You wait here, I'll be back directly. I'm going for a stethoscope. And he went away. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Bedtime Stories with Vice Vice Baby. I hope you'll have a good night and sweet dreams.